Hello everyone, today you're going to get two for the price of one. That is two book reviews instead of my normal one. So the first book is this one. It's called Wayfarer. It's by Alexandra Bracken, and you will know if you watch any of my book reviews that I've already reviewed the first book in this series, which is called Passenger. And this one follows straight on from Passenger, so you really do need to read the first one, otherwise this will make no sense. But literally the action continues from the last minute to the new book, so you really need to read them both. So this one, action packed, absolutely loved it. The story of Etta and Nicholas, and it just goes at a huge pace from beginning to the end. The only weakness I found was that Nicholas tends to lose a bit of clarity as a character in this. He becomes a lot weaker than he was in the first one. There are reasons for that later, but even before that reason becomes apparent, he's a bit of a weaker character, which kind of irked me a little. I won't say any more than that, but there's some great twists and turns. Some of it you will almost feel you might need to read it again to understand what's happened. And it also ends, it's one of those books that ends where you think, yes, there could easily be another story here. The ending is really superb. I hadn't anticipated it, and that's saying something, because I usually do guess and then I get really disappointed when I'm proved to be right. But with this one, nowhere near did I guess the end of this. But I think there's more to come from this writer. She's already a New York Times bestseller, certainly in the sort of fantasy world, so I'm looking forward to see what she thinks of next. So that's number one. My second book is this one. As you can see, it's called Heroes, and as you can see, it's by Stephen, and then there's look, that covers the name up. So it actually took me several weeks to work out that it was Stephen Fry. Sorry, Stephen Fry. I bought it actually thinking it was something completely different. It wasn't until I got it home and several weeks later when I had time to read it, I thought, oh, this is by Stephen Fry. It's like an explanation of the Greek myths and legends, which obviously he's fascinated by. And when I was a kid, I was fascinated by it, and I seem to remember I had an Enid Blyton type book which told a lot of the tales in short stories, which I loved, and I loved the hidden meanings and the lessons that were taught there. This book I sometimes did get a bit lost, because there's lots of explanations of, and now we're telling the story of Oedipus, whose mother and father were these people and their cousins and second cousins were these people. So I sometimes did find myself getting a bit lost, and then lost in all the Greek names. But it's kind of a mix of storytelling and explanation. Obviously it's very learned, and clearly when you read through it you realise he's done a lot of research into this, and the resources and sources and various stories and sculptures and artwork all around the Greek myths and legends. Stories of the Minotaur, and I said Oedipus and Theseus, and many, many more. I'm not sure if I'd read another book like this, but I did manage to go to the end, and that's saying something. But if you like Greek myths and legends, and you don't mind it to be more factual based and lists and historical reference, whether that's, you know, artists who've written about them and all of that kind of, you know, 300 million notes at the end of each page, if you like that, then you'll like this book. If you don't like that at all, then this book is probably not for you. I'm sort of sat somewhere in the middle. So Stephen Fry, Heroes.